$2 trillion stimulus. Good for Bitcoin? Hello YouTube, Eugene from Blockchain 360 here. Today I will share with you my take of the 2 to 6 trillion stimulus package that was just announced by the US government to save the economy that is impacted by the coronavirus pandemic. Will this stimulus package save or hurt the US economy in the long run? Stay on this video to the very end of this video as we discuss this topic. Before we go into the main report, here is a short report on Bitcoin's long-term price action. So recently we saw the plunge of a Bitcoin price due to the equity markets correction. This plunge was from all the way from around 10,000 all the way down to 4,000, and currently it's correcting, making adjustments back to close to $7,000. So I am pretty bullish at this point. The few reasons, you could check out the earlier video that I posted for the reasons for that and the long-term perspective, but at this point I would like to reiterate some of the points some of which I mentioned in the earlier video, but I will add a few more here as well. So firstly, if you are to look at the daily charts, as you see here, the price is making its way back to this gradual incline funnel. This blue lines here is making its way back. Currently, if you look at the daily charts, the lows are getting higher and so are the highs. So we have higher highs and higher lows. If it goes back up to the blue channel, makes its way up to the blue channel, then I would say that this huge correction here had been just a fake out. Now, second point is, if we are to go back all the way to the gradual incline phase back in 2016, after the massive correction that we saw in the bear market of 2015, we actually had a similar case where after the consolidation phase here, we see that the price actually did make a dip here, as you can see, a massive dip here, and it did break out of the beginning part of the gradual incline phase, and after which, after about, I would say about a few months later, 1 to 2 to 3 months later, then there was a huge surge up all the way back in, not just into the funnel, but it went to the top of the gradual incline phase funnel as well. Okay, so if this surge was to really happen after this dip here, then we can also look for a similar surge in the current charts. We can look forward for that surge, not just back up into the funnel, but all the way up to close to the top of the funnel. Yet to determine where the top of the funnel will be, so we'll have to look out for that. Another interesting point to see the similarity is that towards the end of the consolidation phase back in 2015, we had quite a number of golden cross and the death cross. So here you can see on the daily charts, we have the 50 simple moving average in yellow, and the purple thick line would be the 200-day moving average. So as the 50 moving average cross above that, we have the bull cross here, we have the death cross, and after that a bull cross, and this cross here was the last bull cross, marking the end of the bear cycle, and we have going up the gradual incline phase, the beginning of the bull cycle. And of course we knew what happened after the gradual incline phase. At the point where it exceeds the previous all-time high of, here in this case will be $1,000, then it went parabolic to $19,000. Similarly, for now, if let's say we do also see the occurrence of a few death cross here, we have a death cross here, we have the bull cross here, we have the death cross here, and unlike previous bear and bull cycles, the current consolidation, or rather the end of the bear cycle, we have one pair more of bear and bull cycles. So since we had the recent bear cycle, we look forward to another bull cycle, golden cross, and hopefully that will be the last golden cross, which marks the end of the consolidation period. That will lead us to the gradual incline phase, which is the beginning of the bull cycle. Now, another indication that shows that we are coming to the end of the consolidation period is this. Every time we have a volume here, we see the volume indicator. So every time we have a huge spike in volume, it seems to be a change in phase. If you have attended my Bitcoin cycle analysis, I did mention that we have a decline phase and the consolidation phase as part of the bear cycle, and after that in the bull cycle we have the gradual incline phase and the parabolic spike. So we see that there is every time we have a volume, huge volume spike, it marks the end of each phase. So here, as you can see here, we have the final capitulation. There is a huge volume here. So here we see a huge volume here. We see another huge volume spike recently here. So this volume spike here would probably indicate that this drop here would be a change from the consolidation period to the gradual incline phase. If we are to look in the past, in the previous consolidation period, we too see the obvious volume spikes here for the end of the decline phase. We also see the volume spike here, and here, somewhere here, we have the end of the consolidation going to the gradual incline phase. We have the massive drop here, so we see the volume spike here and also here, which indicates a change of phase from the consolidation to the gradual incline phase. So going back to the charts, the current charts, I would give a call that the price, hopefully, since we are moving from consolidation phase to the gradual incline phase, we can expect the price of the price action for Bitcoin to go back into the gradual incline funnel, making this drop here as a temporary, as a huge fake out, and after all, we are moving very close to the halving, the Bitcoin halving that will occur next month. Okay, from here, let's move on to the cover story.
Completely transparent. So the total package here comes to roughly $6 trillion, $2 trillion direct assistance, roughly $4 trillion in Federal Reserve lending power. Again, it will be the largest Main Street financial package in the history of the United States. Liquidity and cash for families, small business, individuals, unemployed, to keep this thing going. We're heading for a rough period, but it's only going to be weeks, we think. Weeks, months, not going to be years, that's for sure.
Trump is going to make America great again. I mean, that is after the crisis of coronavirus pandemic. Although the coronavirus crisis is still in the progress, and the virus keep on affecting thousands of Americans, and the death toll is rising day by day. From current figures as of March 30th, America cases has recently surpassed China, ranking as number 1, being the country with the most coronavirus cases. Most economists and financial pundits are saying that the American economy is in dire straits, and US is in the verge of a recession, if not a depression. Meanwhile, in this situation, Trump is going to help all Americans. But how? Let's see. It seems that the White House is managed to reach an agreement with the Democratic and Republican representatives in the Senate to launch the largest economic stimulus program in the history of the United States. Boom! This $2 trillion is a kind of jumbo package to face the new coronavirus, also known as COVID-19 pandemic, which threatens to make the country the center of the health emergency. It has just been successfully passed, but take note that this jumbo package is equivalent to 10% of the United States' total economic output. The stimulus is intended to free all small and medium businesses from taxes. What? Free from taxes? Yeah. Inject trillions of dollars into the US economy as an aid. Does this make sense? So, what does the $2 trillion fiscal stimulus package include? This jumbo injection includes aid for SMEs as well as for troubled sectors, such as airlines, and expansion of coverage by unemployment and direct payment of cash to American families. Republicans think that it is necessary to carry out a financial stimulus bill for $2 trillion that will go directly to cover the needs that the coronavirus has uncovered among its citizens, especially those who have lost their jobs and those who are in hospitals. While we are waiting for the injection to materialize, the agreement includes the allocation of $350 billion to help SMEs and ensure that they can mitigate layoffs as well as being able to finance their employees' payrolls. Along with that, the payment of monthly checks of $1,200 to families, in addition to $500 in cash per child. On the other hand, an Inspector General will oversee a $500 billion federal rescue fund for the industries most affected by the pandemic. Within the grants, passengers, cargo, and contractor airlines would receive $32 billion. In this way, the stimulus would include $25 billion in subsidies for passenger airlines, $4 billion for cargo transport companies, and $3 billion for contractors as a food supplier. Not only that, the stimulus package includes $240 billion in medical care, another $75 billion in hospital aid, about $20 billion in veterans medical care, the same amount to finance public transportation operations, about $10 billion in airport aid, and $4.5 billion to help the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. With trillions of dollars available for financial stimulation in the wake of the coronavirus outbreak, Binance CEO believes that it could lift Bitcoin's market capitalization to $2 trillion. The Federal Reserve and central banks around the world have started printing fiat money in an attempt to prevent further financial collapse fueled by COVID-19 through quantitative easing. We should ask ourselves, from where these $2 trillion going to come from? Of course, they have to print dollar bills. In this mass printing of dollars are ultimately going to devalue the US dollar. It's that simple. Furthermore, Americans may be happy to receive the money in the short term, but there will be detrimental effects in the long term. This devaluing of the US dollar will usher in years of hyperinflation. In years to come, Americans as well as civilians of other nations will start noticing that the things they buy will start to become more expensive rapidly as fiat currencies depreciate. Billions are on the table, and Bitcoin, on the other hand, has already shown price gains following the Federal Reserve's implementation of printing an infinite amount of money. Bitcoin has risen and will continue rising in price in the near future as long as further financial injection continues. It is also most likely that as the economic slowdown continues due to the coronavirus pandemic worsens in the future, it is highly possible that central banks will reissue further stimulus injections in the name of saving the economy. This, in turn, will continue the rapid devaluation of the US dollar. Bitcoin, on the other hand, is in short supply and has a fixed offer of 21 million with a predetermined inflation rate, completely eliminating the possibility of devaluation. Now, the situation is very critical and interesting. The Federal Reserve is running out of bullets as they seem to only be able to lower interest rates, which is already at zero, and to print more US dollar bills. This simple decision may seem to rescue the economy in the short term, but hurt it in the long term. If Bitcoin is a good store of value, then is this not the time to buy more Bitcoin? If the dollar will be going into hyperinflation in the near future, then won't Bitcoin go up in price since Bitcoin is also priced in the US dollar? Thank you for watching this video. We hope this report has been educational for you. Do subscribe to our channel and wishing you safe as you stay at home. See you in the next video.